lovers, and welcome to the Liberty Mike podcast, broadcasting from an undisclosed location in the heart of Dixie. I am Michael, and I am here with Liberty Larry.
How's it going?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm okay. Okay's fair.
Okay. Okay too fair, or fair and okay are like synonyms in this case?
I don't know. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not great, but okay.
Just before you came over, I discovered that one of my cats threw up on the table.
The table we're using?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not this table. Another table, which is actually kind of an impressive display of what we can only assume is projectile vomiting, since they're not allowed on the table.
Yeah, because they follow that rule always, whether you're home or not.
Right. I guess we know better than that now.
Yeah.
It's disappointing. So this is probably the first time that I'm actually kind of disappointed that we don't do video.
Oh yeah? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because we could just like punctuate the entire video with pictures of Sydney Sweeney's décolletage.
It may get a lot of hits.
Yeah, I think that would probably do better for us, really.
Yeah.
And for those out there that don't know, décolletage is really just a fancy word for cleavage.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's amazing the stir that's been this week. I mean, it's distraction. To me, it's like blatant distraction.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know any other way to put it.
So, Bridget Fedesi was talking about the uproar about this, and she's like, what is it with this girl? Like, because so Bridget's like roughly the same age as me. She's a little younger, I think, actually. But
yeah.
Our youths were built around the same personalities or people or whatever. Yeah. And she's like, this girl's like a 90s 7.
That's true.
It's just like people are afraid to be beautiful now. And there is something to be said. Like,
there is
one thing that I really
that.
like about Sydney Sweeney is that she knows she's beautiful and she's not embarrassed about it and she's happy to use it. And
yeah, I got a kid that way, so
yeah. Well, it might
pray for me.
It probably doesn't feel the same when your 15-year-old is like that.
Yeah.
At least Sydney Sweeney is absolutely an adult.
Yeah.
Honestly, she's kind of impressive. Like, she left law school to
I was
pursue
sad. I know
acting.
nothing about her beyond the scandal or whatever you want to call it.
She's sharp. She runs her own production company. She's learned how to work the system up there.
Yeah,
which is good because she's not actually a very good actor, I don't think. I mean,
what's she been
fine.
in?
I don't know. There's some romantic comedies and there's some long-running series somewhere or another that she's been a part of.
Okay,
I forget what it's called. Euphoria, I think.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I haven't
think
seen
she's
it.
in that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Beyond this, I didn't even know who this person was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
So
she's an entertaining character. She has gotten some media. I think she's from Idaho.
Okay.
Like, I think she's like from Coeur d'Alene, which I believe is the center of the Nazi party in the United States or whatever, something like that. But anyway, yeah. I heard. I think I probably mentioned this on the podcast before. There was somebody that I met in a bar who, when asked about Idaho, because the person I was with was considering moving to Idaho, and the guy was like, no, Idaho's full of Nazis. Boise's okay, but Idaho's full of Nazis.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if like the entire population of one of these cities, there's probably 1,500 Nazis in the entire United States, right?
I was fixing to say, there's no way it's full of Nazis.
And even if all of them were in Idaho, it still wouldn't be full of Nazis.
Exactly.
Like, this is such a ridiculous statement to make.
It depends on your definition of Nazi,
I guess.
Anybody
to the right of me, if it was that guy, definitely would be a large group of people.
Exactly.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we can't just punctuate our video with Sydney Sweeney.
Sweeney, not yet.
Yeah, that was a weird thing for people to get in an uproar about. But I was thinking about the '90s thing, and of course, like her example was Cindy Crawford, and I was thinking, like Kathy Ireland and Elle McPherson, like the girls that I thought were just like amazingly beautiful when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It might be like romanticized. I might look at their pictures now and go, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. The 90s were just a different time.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of the 90s, like not just stuff like that, just it was just a different time, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a long time ago now, so.
Definitely. We were blissfully ignorant of our continuing war in the Middle East.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Bill Clinton's getting blowjobs and like I don't know. It just felt like it was like
I don't think
that was
changed.
Well, yeah, probably not, but that was like what the political uproar was at the time.
Yeah.
It was something fun. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
man, I don't know. It was
fooling around with an intern when you're the president of the United States is.
I don't know. It seems more lighthearted than
ethical questions.
Well, no, without question. I'm not saying that there's not, but I am saying that it just feels more lighthearted than the stuff that we talk about now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, this podcast probably would have been a lot different then.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, well. Speaking of our serious issues, I guess, I have a weird note written sideways on my... I have no idea what that says. Okay. Well, speaking of our serious issues, like Trump turned around, changed his mind again, gave Russia 10 or 12 days.
Something like that.
To come up with something. Anyway, the deadline he's finally decided on is this Friday. Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I had a dream last night that I was in some eating establishment, like I
thought you were going to say concentration camp.
No. It was like some diner or something in Los Angeles, and nuclear bombs started to go off.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my dream last night. It was weird.
Dude,
like duck and cover did not work too.
Oh yeah, no, well yeah, that was always just to make you feel better.
Yeah,
like that's not gonna like work. Yeah. I saw just real brief, since you brought up nuclear, made me think of it. I was watching the news before I came over, and they're talking about putting a nuclear power plant on the moon. Have you heard of this?
No.
Not like a big one. Like one, they said it would be big enough or it would do enough power to provide for like a couple of office like complexes or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, they're
office complexes on the moon. Or are you beaming the energy back to Earth?
No. It's for stuff. It's for infrastructure on the moon. So,
okay.
But yeah, like in the next 5 years, they're planning on like before they even have like the infrastructure there, they're going to put the power plants there.
Well, that makes sense.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't. Yeah. I mean, obviously.
I mean, you can't really do much without power. Power is probably the first thing you need. Power or water.
I don't know. It just seemed wild though that like that's like a for real thing. Like within the next 5 years, there may be nuclear power plants on the moon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I know I said the same thing. I was watching it, but like they're serious about it. Apparently, there's a lot of money going towards it. Not so much from NASA, but I think it's like a whole bunch of countries that are involved in it. It was like I forget what that like. It was China and Russia. I think were going to collaborate and. Like NASA's involved, they're just not putting as much resources.
I'm sure
towards
the ESA, the European Space Agency.
Yeah, there was
and Japan probably too. Japan's like really into.
I think Japan
stuff.
was mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Just something interesting to think about.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, I'd like to see something like that happen. I just don't know that we can get along long enough to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, don't we?
Scientific communities always do fine, actually.
That's what I was trying to get to, yeah.
Countries are at war, and scientists from those countries are still collaborating on things. It's just...
Yeah, because they brought up the thing, too, about how you can't have property on the moon. Like, that's not a thing. Mm-hmm. But that this may change as we put the power plants there because, like, we'll have to have control over who has access to those plants, even on the moon. So that could change how the property... And that there's valuable property. There's like places on the moon that are better than others and that kind of thing.
I'm sure that's true.
So, but different countries are kind of vying for some of that real estate, and that this may play into it. I don't know. It's interesting.
It'll be country-owned real estate.
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean, that
government-owned
was
real estate. That's
but
wonderful. That will destroy the moon in no time.
right. Anyway, a little tangent. My bad.
Yeah, no worries. The threat to Russia isn't it's kind of nuclear war. I mean, there's some intimations of nuclear.
Anytime two
war.
countries are fighting a proxy war, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's
Well, it's only a proxy war for one of us. The other one's like actually fighting in a war.
I guess that's true.
But the threat has been secondary sanctions, which isn't even really entirely a threat to Russia. Like, this is a whole thing. First off, Trump believes that he can solve all problems with sanctions. Apparently, there are a lot of countries in the world that consider economic sanctions an act of war.
Yeah,
you and I think, both consider economic sanctions.
We've talked about it on here. Yeah, I mean, it's essentially a blockade,
right?
In a different form.
And but even before the deadline, the idea is that he'll put large sanctions on any countries that are buying Russian oil. He's already put a 25% sanction on India, which if he thinks that countries like India and China are going to fall in line and stop purchasing inexpensive Russian energy,
that energy
so that they can continue to sell us cheap crap.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I mean, that energy is going to hit the market one way or the other.
That's true.
I mean, there's no stopping it. Same thing like I was telling you before we started recording about Brazil's got we levied 50% tariffs on Brazil. And they were talking on the thing I was listening to about that coffee's going to go somewhere. They're already looking for Brazil's already looking for other avenues of who wants it.
Yeah, everybody in the world drinks coffee too. It's not like it's going to be that hard. This is different though. This is about the 50% sanction on Brazil is about prosecution of the previous president.
It is, yeah.
Trump said you have to drop the case and we'll remove the sanctions, which is the most ridiculous thing. If you stop for a moment, this is so childish. So childish.
Yeah.
And it's a complete misunderstanding of what your role is as the commander-in-chief of the United States. This is absolutely, unquestionably an example of the president of the United States using his office for his own personal reasons rather than the interests of the United States.
Yeah, because
you are not a CEO.
Yeah, the United States people have no incentive to care who is running Brazil.
Yeah, or whether they indict a previous president or not. It's just of no interest to us.
Yeah.
This is only costly to the United States, and if it works out, it's really only helpful to the president because he's buddies with Bolsonaro.
Exactly.
Now Lula da Silva was in prison before he was president, between his terms of president too. So there's some screwy stuff going on down in Brazil anyway.
Yeah.
But this is of no interest to us.
We don't need to be sticking our nose in it.
Yeah, as a nation, this is of no interest to us.
Yeah.
So
and when you're threatening tariffs like this, it's gonna make prices go up. This is gonna increase the price of coffee. I mean, I just don't see how it doesn't.
Yeah.
And coffee's already expensive. I know you don't drink coffee. I kind of drink coffee, but not really. Mm-hmm. But it's we sell it at my store. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And it's only going to go up again.
Well, India, between trading with the United States and getting cheap energy from Russia, they're going to choose cheap energy from Russia.
Well, yeah.
And China would do the same thing. And China has already proven that they have cards to play in a tariff war.
Yeah.
That they've already proven to be resistant to American tariffs.
Yeah.
And this is this moment where there's a misunderstanding from the president of what wealth is. He values money over wealth.
Yeah.
But wealth is the product.
Yeah.
Money's just pieces of paper. I mean, it's literally just pieces of paper now. It's not really backed by anything in the United States anymore.
It's not backed by anything physical. I mean, I always say it's backed by the U.S. military.
Well,
but that's about it, though.
Yeah, that's a different thing. I would say that it is backed by the production capacity of the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've always said that that's how you could increase the money supply without reducing the value, is if you increase the money supply on par with increases in production in the United States. But because then it would be like you have the same ratio of money to goods.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the goods are the wealth.
Yeah.
And there's like so many people out there that I hear complaining about how China subsidizes in some of their industries to keep prices down, and how China's model is about overproduction so that they can sell cheap goods to us and to everybody else, and like what a problem this is. How is this a problem? Explain to me how this is actually a problem. Because like if China wants to exploit labor in its own country and make its own country poorer to send stuff to us at lower prices, then they're making us wealthier at their own expense. And why would I care? I mean, the truth is that I do care, because I think exploitation of people, period, is a problem.
Yeah.
But in terms of our like national interest and so forth, how is that a problem to us?
We're winning this. Like,
exactly. Like, you know,
I mean, the same thing with the Soviet Union. Like, the Soviet Union eventually fell. And the same thing, you just got to play the long game. And so it's no different with China. Like, their system will fail.
Yeah, eventually. It'll take longer because they got a lot more people.
They do. Well, that's the other thing I was going to say.
The production capacity of China is much greater than at the height of the Soviet Union.
Yeah. But that was the other thing I was going to say. They just have so many people. They got to keep them busy anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got to keep them busy working so they don't rise up.
Is the Milton Friedman thing, like when he went out there and they were doing some, you know, digging up something or other, and
digging
with their shovels, digging the ditch with their shovels. And he said, well, why don't you just get them some modern equipment? This could go a lot faster with a lot fewer people. And they were like, well, it's essentially make work. Like, we got to keep these people busy. And he was like, well, why don't you take away the shovels and give them spoons?
Exactly.
Like, okay, if you're being intentionally unproductive, then you may as well go all the way.
Exactly. Well, and at that point, you might as well just cut them checks anyway. Like, what are you really having them do?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, but if China wants to exploit its own citizens to give the United States discounts, like, why should we be upset about that?
Yeah.
You know? And I just, like, I'm hearing this echo in my head, like, people like, well, what about the Uyghurs? It's funny to me that the Uyghurs are, like, the only Islamic group in the world that anybody gives a damn about. Like, we're really concerned about this particular Islamic group being exploited by the Chinese. Nobody knows who the Rohingya are. And then, of course, the Palestinians were perfectly okay with them being oppressed and exploited by an occupying country. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It's just a weapon to use against China. It's just a talking point. Is all it is. And
I just want to say, since I'm starting to go down this path anyway, as a side note, that by international law, the Palestinians have every right to act with violence against the Israeli occupation of their land. Yeah. Every right. Yeah. And now the Israeli government is speaking openly about removing everybody from Gaza and taking over the territory. And of course, you know, that's what Trump said from the beginning, but his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has a bunch of real estate deals out there. It just seems so corrupt.
Talk about a conflict of interest.
Yeah. I mean, we may as well move into that.
I was going to say, are we ready to transition?
Yeah, I think so. So I guess it's finally made headlines that the Israeli Defense Forces are firing on aid seekers and actually UN humanitarian workers. Yeah. Trying to provide food aid to the Palestinians. Yeah. This isn't new, by the way. This has been going on this entire time. Yeah. At least as long as they've been allowing food in at all. And Netanyahu got up there and says, there's no starvation in Gaza. There's never been any starvation in Gaza. It is not our policy to starve Gaza. All right. Go hunt on Google for Israel limits calories into Gaza.
Yeah. I mean, that's an open policy.
Well, yes and no.
Okay. I mean, I've seen it enough. I just assumed that was something that they, at least one point, was open about.
Yeah. What you'll find is an article. I think it's a New York Times article. I don't remember. Probably your biggest hit, though, will be a New York Times article from around 2012 talking about how there was a Israeli document, government document from 2008 that was leaked that calculates how many calories must enter Gaza to avoid malnutrition.
Yeah.
And they claim it was never a policy, and they claim, well, they're just looking for their minimum, to make sure that they do better than that or whatever. The number, by the way, was 2,279 calories per person to enter Gaza avoid malnutrition. Now, the truth is that even though they'd calculated this, they actually allowed fewer calories than that into Gaza anyway.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't their policy, they weren't very good at even equaling their minimum calculations.
Yeah.
And for comparison, now the average American can be a little rotund, but the average American consumes over 3,600 calories a day.
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah, well, that's the calculation anyway, or the best estimate now.
No.
So there was already a policy, it's seemingly at least, or at least the research into a policy, we'll say, is indisputable that they were trying to calculate what was the minimum amount of calories they could allow into Gaza to keep people on the edge of starvation, but not quite starving, so that the humanitarian groups wouldn't get involved. That's probably the real reason that any of this was calculated.
Yeah.
And it has been they've limited the amount of water that enters Gaza. They limit the amount of power that enters Gaza. They limit the amount of food that enters Gaza. Yeah. And then, of course, let's see, Huckabee went over with Witkoff recently.
Yep.
And Huckabee was like, oh, Israel delivers 1 million meals a day to Gaza. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's stop and think about how wonderful the Israelis are for delivering 1 million meals a day into Gaza.
Yeah.
There's 2.3 million people living in Gaza.
I was fixing to say, exactly. There's twice that many people there.
Yeah. So if they deliver 1 million meals a day, that's less than 1 meal per person every other day.
Yeah. Yeah. That ain't, and it's just, to me, it's just sickening that one country can treat a people this way to begin with. To even have to calculate, well, how many calories do we let into this area for these people? Mm-hmm. Just let the people get their own calories and let their import
they
stuff
subtracted
in.
For that in their calculation. They subtracted for the calories that
are smuggled in,
that the Palestinians could actually produce themselves.
Oh, could produce themselves, yeah. Which is nothing now because it's complete wasteland.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't in 2012, I guess, but it is now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't great.
Wasn't great. No, it's never been great there. But but now it's as bad as it's ever been.
I am constantly amazed that the Israelis can use their treatment by other countries in the past, forcing them into ghettos and rough lives, as an excuse to force the Palestinians into ghettos and rough lives.
Yeah, it's
the cycle of abuse, I guess.
It really seems to be.
We have the power now.
Yeah.
The other thing is that all these claims about how they're allowing all this food in and so on. they require anybody that is bringing food into Gaza to work with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is really just an Israeli front. And a lot of these most of these humanitarian organizations refuse to work with the Gaza Humanitarian Front.
Yeah.
Or Foundation. Sorry. Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. I should call it front.
Yeah.
The Gaza Humanitarian Front.
Yeah.
Because they are setting up these like kill zones around food distribution.
Food aid, yeah.
And so, of course, the humanitarian agencies don't want to work with them because that just violates every aspect of what humanitarian aid should be.
I mean, we're shooting at starving people trying to get the food.
Yeah. They set up these distribution centers that like far away from everything, so people have to walk a long way to get to them. They force all of the Palestinians into the south of Gaza, and then they open food stations in the north.
Yeah.
So these people have to walk across this entire strip of land, hoping that they make it without getting shot by the IDF before they get there, and then lining up for food and getting shot by the IDF.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think that they were killing like 150 people a week at food stations. And then the other part of it is that there's so little food getting in there that when they let food trucks in, food trucks are overwhelmed with mobs trying to get food because they're starving.
Yeah.
And the IDF uses that as an excuse to fire into the crowds.
I was going to say they basically just try to use shooting at them to corral them and herd them.
Yeah.
Into where they want them to go. I mean, no need to put up a sign and tell people where to go. Just, if there's gunshots, go the other way.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't understand how this has been tolerated this long. I like to think that it's starting to change, but the truth is it's not really.
Yeah. Well, nothing's changing right now. I mean, there are more people talking about it. And that's something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at least it's hitting mainstream.
Yeah,
mainstream
because
news.
I think so many people just don't know what's going on there. I mean, I like to believe that. Maybe I'm just being generous, but I feel like most people just don't know. Same thing as what was happening in Yemen. People just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that's the case. But we've been trained for a long time to think of Arabs as barbarians, less than human. That's certainly how the Israelis treat them.
Oh, yeah.
And that attitude is prevalent here, too.
Yeah, very.
Especially among older population in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's hard for me. I'm starting to see the hierarchy of races again. So apparently Arabs better than Chinese, but worse than Europeans, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Worse than European Jews, I should be more specific.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's a thing that has been going on for a while now, and I'm happy that it's making real news at this point. I think there's just like a real misunderstanding of the history there, because the Israeli state has been very effective at distributing its propaganda over its existence.
Yeah.
You still hear people say, well, that area was given to the Jews because it was a land without a people for a people without a land, except that it wasn't a land without a people. The Palestinians lived there.
There were people there.
There were absolutely people there. In 1948, when after the UN had given a bunch of territory that didn't belong to them a way to form a Jewish state, then they were given like 48% of historic Palestine. And they took very quickly after that another like 18 or so percent, to the point where they had 60 something percent of historic Palestine by driving 750,000 people off of their land.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it. And the people that live in Gaza and on the West Bank, these are descendants of the people that were driven off their land by Jewish militias at the beginning of the state of Israel. Okay. And there's a lot of talk about how the Egyptians and the Jordanians and the Syrians and the Lebanese, they won't take in the Palestinians. Nobody wants the Palestinians. The truth is that there's millions of Palestinians already living in those countries that are refugees.
Yeah. We're just we're just talking about the ones that are left in Gaza.
Yeah. And then, of course, if Gaza is still technically Egyptian territory.
Yeah.
So if the Egyptians let the Palestinians be moved off of that land, they would never get it back as part of their own country. And the same is true of the West Bank, which is technically Jordanian territory.
Yeah.
And if you the thing that keeps coming up is Hamas is so bad. Hamas wants to destroy the Jews. Hamas. I don't know how you listen to that and you listen to the Israeli spokespeople talking about removing all the Palestinians from Gazan territory and don't think that that's kind of the same thing.
Right.
But anyway, okay, so you complain about Hamas, this terrible terrorist group who formed as a result of the exploitation and occupation of their people.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Leaving that aside, the Israelis are doing the same thing in the West Bank, and Hamas isn't there.
Yeah.
And they're still doing it in the West Bank. They're kicking people out of their homes and capturing territory in the West Bank right now. And in huge numbers, they have accelerated the colonization of the West Bank and removing Palestinians from their homes on the West Bank during this war because everybody's focused on Gaza.
Yeah, nobody's paying any attention.
Yeah. They want everything that was part of the British mandate back in the day.
Yeah.
They want what they call Greater Israel. And that's everything that was part of the British mandate back in the day. But none of that territory, I would say none of the territory, period, was legally given. But even if you accept the UN partition, they've captured almost twice as much territory as they were given in the first place.
Yeah.
All illegally.
Yeah.
And so this is the only point in time. People will bring up right now in the Russia-Ukraine war how you can't. It's illegal internationally to capture territory from war.
Yeah.
But we've absolutely tolerated it for 60 years in Israel.
Exactly.
Almost 60 years.
Yeah, exactly.
In Israel. And nobody wants to do anything. Everybody's so afraid of what happened to the Jews in World War II, of that being the guilt around that prevents them from doing anything about the terrible acts that are being committed by the Israeli state.
Yeah. Well, and what they're doing.
And I am really
to the Palestinians.
Yeah, I am really trying to draw a line between Jews and the Israeli state.
Yeah.
In terms of I hold the Israeli government responsible for this, not Jews. I want to be really clear about that. I don't care what your religion is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the point.
We're talking about governments here.
Yeah.
One in particular.
Yeah. I'm opposed to oppression of people based on their demographics by any government or any group of people. In this case, we're talking about the Israeli government.
Yeah.
That has made even the Palestinians that live within Israel second-class citizens by making them not actually citizens. You actually have to be Jewish to be a citizen of Israel.
Yeah.
Which is one of those things that any other nation in the world that had some kind of rule like that, and there are a few actually, we are highly critical of.
Yeah.
But not Israel. Yeah. Israel can be an ethno-state. We're all right with that. No problems there. But anybody else who wants to be an ethno-state, that's a real problem.
Yeah. So the hypocrisy is just insane.
I'm just saying treat them like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to the Israeli state, treat the Palestinians like anybody else.
Right.
You probably wouldn't have as much trouble with them if you did. And there is some talk again about creating a Palestinian state.
Yeah, I think Canada jumped on, France jumped on, a bunch of countries.
Well, I think Macron's motives are dubious. He's got a high Muslim population in the metro areas of France, and he doesn't want riots.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I thought they always had riots in France.
Yeah, they do. But the labor riots are different.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but even so, you're talking about two territories that are divided by a highly militarized state that still controls their borders.
Yeah.
They're not really a state then, are they? If they don't have any real self-determination or autonomy, then they're not really a state. It's just applying a new name to the same system.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It just, I know it's a super complicated situation, but it just doesn't feel like it has to be. Like if the U.S. was like an honest broker here and was I don't know, an honest broker and calling things like they are, it just doesn't seem like we have that much trouble getting to a solution here. Mm-hmm. But it involves giving the Palestinians a state. And that's just, it's a non-starter for us. And we control the game, so... Yeah.
I mean, again, this is another part of the UN Charter that we're ignoring here, is that people are entitled to self-determination.
Yeah.
And as long as we're on that topic, there were states promised to the Palestinians and states promised to the Israelis. The Israelis have theirs, the Palestinians don't have theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been 80 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's about right. 80 years or so.
Yeah, wow.
We still haven't come through on that one.
Yeah.
But the war in Ukraine could probably have been solved if the U.S. appeared to be an honest broker in that case too.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it would help if Trump showed some level of consistency.
Yeah.
So this is the one clip that I almost pulled, but decided against it because Rubio, he's kind of boring sometimes. But Rubio said after this Witkoff meeting, he said, now we have some kind of understanding of what it is that the Russians want. So, we feel better about negotiations moving forward. What do you mean you just now figured out what the Russians want? They've been very consistent.
I was going to say,
what they're asking for.
We know what they want. Did it just not make it to the Trump administration?
Yeah. This whole war probably could have been avoided if in 2021 we had just said, we'll never bring Ukraine into NATO.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this is about. At least from the start.
I mean, it may not have solved the problem permanently, but it certainly would have delayed things.
Yeah.
There's been a real consistency from the Russians about what it is that they want. They don't want a military alliance that was formed to counter them to move into the pathway into Russia from Europe.
Yeah. That's been used to attack it before.
Yeah. We have to recognize that other nations have legitimate security concerns that need to be considered when we're making agreements. Yeah. Like, I understand the sovereignty of Ukraine, they can decide who they want to associate with or not. But the other side of that should have enough sense not to form an alliance that's going to seriously upset the security concerns of a major power.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think that they should. I think they should have enough sense not to accept, these kinds of affiliations if they're going to upset the security concerns of anybody. But certainly, I mean, like realistically, looking at international relations, at least it should be something that you consider when the security concerns of a major power are upset.
Well, and we've been very obviously tipping the scales in Ukraine this whole time anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can't discount that either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the Ukrainian people made this decision as far as what they wanted to do. We've had our finger in the pot the whole time.
Yeah. Thumb on the scale. You should stick with the same metaphor,
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, twice Ukraine has elected Ukraine in their own democratic process has elected a leader that was amenable to the Russians, and twice we have worked to overthrow that leader.
Yeah, exactly.
2004, 2014. And then, of course, Zelensky himself was elected talking about, applying, like, sticking to the Minsk Accords, actually applying the Minsk Accords, and so forth, and being friendly with Russia. And I don't know how he was turned exactly, but obviously he was.
Money, coke, who knows?
Well, at some point he's going to take off with the many, many millions that he's embezzled during this time.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing you've got to consider here and keep in mind is that Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries there is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
in
like
Europe, I think is what they say.
Yeah. Still though, that's a pretty tall.
Like you bring in Southern Asia and Africa, like there's a lot of really corrupt governments out there.
But still corrupt.
Yeah. That's true. And the negotiations here keep like falling off. Like now there's an agreement for Trump to meet with Putin, maybe.
Yeah. There's definitely a maybe on that one.
And you talk about Zelensky. Zelensky's a guy who the Russians see as tenuously hanging on to power in the first place, and then also illegitimate in the second.
Yeah.
So they don't want to negotiate with them, we have this history here, certainly under Trump. I mean, I think it goes back farther than that, but certainly under Trump of our negotiations being about coming to a tentative agreement and then moving the goalpost.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked to the Russians about having a face-to-face between Trump and Putin, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, we're amenable to that agreement. We can meet and talk." And they're like, "Okay, great." The Russians agree to high-level talks between the U.S. and Putin, and then we turn around to Russia and we say, "Oh, by the way, it's a precondition that you meet with Zelensky."
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, no, we're not doing that. We're not meeting with Zelensky."
Yeah.
And I'll explain why at least one of the reasons that they don't want to meet with Zelensky in a moment. But then the U.S. government turns around and says, we thought we had an agreement with the Russians that they were going to have talks between the presidents, and now they won't do it. So they're just never negotiating in good faith. No, the problem is that you had a tentative agreement, and then you added conditions to it until they said no.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you blame them for not being willing to negotiate.
Yeah.
You blame them for the breakdown in diplomacy. And so why wouldn't Russia want to meet with Zelensky or make an agreement with Zelensky? For the same reason. Because this is a guy who's barely holding on to power, and many may consider to be an illegitimate president anyway. So, okay, they make an agreement with Zelensky, he gets taken out of power really quickly, and that becomes an excuse for the agreement to collapse.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're right back to where we were at.
Yeah. So there's no sense in it for the Russians to negotiate with him. And there's no sense for the Russians to trust us to be any kind of mediator in the agreement while we're selling arms to the enemy.
Exactly. We're literally sending arms to the other side.
Yeah, you need some kind of third party, actually neutral party to mediate this. Yeah. The U.S. is a belligerent. Yeah. Like, they can't really be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to be a part of it. Well, as far as the negotiations are concerned. Sure. But as far as we can't mediate it, though. Yeah.
We have enough control over Ukraine that we need to be a part of it. Agreed.
Yeah.
The problem is that the U.S. is the international, I'm going to put scare quotes around, peacekeeper.
Yeah.
Because we're the military that's powerful enough to enforce agreements.
Yeah.
And there's no military powerful enough to enforce an American agreement with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, not yet.
I mean, China maybe. I mean, they're enough of a threat to probably.
At this point, though, it would take going to war because we wouldn't tolerate that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just the bottom line. Like, we wouldn't tolerate that. So any power that was going to try to enforce an agreement upon us would have to enforce an agreement. They'd have to use the force.
Yeah.
So, which would be a war. So, and if you're talking about somewhere like China or Russia, I mean, you're talking about nuclear war. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the end.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario where there's a real hot war between us and another nuclear power that it doesn't eventually go nuclear.
Well, it has to. I guess it doesn't have to, but it would.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, the fear is always that the other side would use their nukes.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too, is that like these officials, when they're in public, they talk like this isn't a possibility.
So I guess
like, oh, well, we haven't had a nuclear war so far, so obviously we never will.
Well, so I guess Japan was commemorating the bombs being dropped yesterday. I guess yesterday was the anniversary. And so they were doing interviews with different people who were big as far as like the proliferation and stuff like that.
You mean non-proliferation?
Non-proliferation, yeah. And it's just kind of hard to listen because I don't know, it's just not realistic. Like the more they talk about what it would take to do away with nuclear arms altogether, you just realize really quick that that's just not going to happen. Like there's no way, I mean, fair enough, like we could all draw down and we could all have smaller arsenals and things of that nature, but they're never going away. The countries that have them are never giving them up.
Yeah, it would require a real recognition by everyone that these things are far more of a threat to the existence of us all.
I think that it would take a nuclear war. I mean, I think that's the only way.
Well,
I mean, I think if there was, even if it wasn't like a full nuclear war, but it would take an exchange between a couple of two countries, and then I think everybody could come to the table and be like, all right, we should seriously consider what we do going forward here. But beyond that, I just don't see it.
Yeah. I forget the order of these things, but Trump and Medvedev have been kind of going back and forth on social media because that's apparently how we communicate diplomacy these days. You know, so I did see the press conference with Trump where he said the 10 or 12 days. And they asked him if if they'd had talks with the Russians about this, and so forth, and he's like, or notify them or whatever. And he's like, well, you guys are the press.
It's your job to notify him.
Like, this is how we communicate our intentions in this world, is like, well, we just speak openly to the press, and the press delivers it on whatever news channel is going through in Russia, right? Like that's how they find out what we want and what it's. So
and I guess we're supposed to tune into RT to find out what's happening in Russia, right?
Right, exactly. Except that YouTube took it off because it's.
Well, I was going to say, you think Trump's got a proxy server so we can get some?
You can watch it on Rumble.
Okay, still.
But yeah, they've been going back and forth about nuclear stuff and. So of course Trump said, I'm moving nuclear subs into these areas, just in case or whatever. Like, okay, first off, subs are in the waters around all the time. I promise you there are Russian subs off the coast of the United States right now too.
Yeah.
Even if you decide to do that though, you don't publicly announce.
Well, because it's a threat. Like
exactly. And then
open threat.
Medvedev came back with we have the dead hand system. You should remember that we have the dead hand system. And then they made a huge deal about Medvedev threatening nuclear war with the United States, except for I mean, I get this from the Doomsday. What's it? The Doomsday device? Anyway,
Doomsday Clock.
No. I'm thinking of the name of the book by
a book.
The guy who released the nuclear information. He died just not that long ago, a couple of years ago, I think. Real shame. One of the biggest whistleblowers in the history of the United States. Okay. And I feel bad that I can't think of his name right now. Ellison. Anyway, the dead hand is their fail-safe system.
Oh.
If they suffer a first strike and there's nobody left in Russia to send the command, the dead hand just launches everything they've got. So it's not an offensive device. It's a defensive device. If we have been wiped out, you won't do it cleanly.
Yeah. We're coming for you.
Yeah. Even if there's nobody left in Russia to fire the nukes will fire.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's not. It wasn't a threat that we're going to attack you. It was a threat if you attack us,
Yeah.
We always have this. Even
This
if you
is-
completely wipe us out, you
Yeah.
won't do it without losses.
Yeah, how do you threaten the dead hand? Like, you threaten moving nuclear subs around and being public about it.
Yeah.
You don't threaten the dead hand. Like,
Yeah.
the dead hand is what happens.
As we've lost.
Yeah, exactly. It's defeat. It's the white flag.
When we've lost, we
Yeah.
still have this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like all the talk about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Trump is bombastic and so forth, and he clearly thinks of this position like he's still just a CEO running a business. And there was some appeal to that idea of, we need somebody in the White House that'll run the country like a business. But this is one of the drawbacks.
Yeah.
Is like diplomacy doesn't work the same in business as it does between international
countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like international relations are not the same as competitive business.
Yeah.
And so you can do all these tricks and threats and so forth in business and flip-flop and keep changing the plans and like so on. And maybe people think that you're erratic and that they're not sure what to expect. And that's a good thing in business. But in international relations, you need constancy.
Yeah.
You need a steady hand to avoid the dead hand.
Gotta avoid the dead hand.
So I think that he's really bad at this.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a fluke that some of the stuff he's done has worked out. I think that we just got lucky. And I don't think that he can bully Russia or China or India or Brazil into doing whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And did we say this at the time when we brought up the Brazil thing? Can you imagine if some other country placed tariffs on the United States contingent on some court case going on here?
Yeah, that's absolutely wild. I can't. We would never tolerate that.
Yeah, if you throw out this case, then we'll drop the tariffs.
Yeah. Our military would get involved if somebody made that type of threat towards us.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be worth invading. It's time for a regime change.
Yeah, but we've got a situation where half the country would be thrilled if some country had done that about the cases against Trump for the election, and the other half of the country would have hated it.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I can't stand sitting here any longer, so we gotta close up.
I think we've covered it.
We ran as long as we need to, and I had no clips to allow me to move around.
Yeah.
So, yeah, next week is good, right?
As far as I know.
Oh, actually, I'm out of town next week.
Oh, I'm out of town the week after that.
We'll have to figure out something.
We'll see if we can't put something together in the in-between time. But yeah, next week I don't think is a problem for me, although next week is dicey, just work-wise. But yeah, the following week I go out of town. And I leave on Thursday.
Okay.
I read my calendar right.
Yeah, I leave on Wednesday, so all right. Well, that's a problem.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, don't know when we'll be back.
Yeah.
We must compare calendars after we shut down the mics.
Yeah.
So sorry, I can't be more certain about what happens next for everybody. But of course, if you're subscribed on iTunes, Podbean, or Facebook, or YouTube, is that all the places? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
You'll be notified when we post another episode.
Get the bat signal.
So yeah, I don't think it works that well with all those things to call it a bat signal, but
okay.
And yeah, we'll be back sometime. In the meantime, if you're not subscribed in any of those places, subscribe in all of them.
Yeah.
Like and share, comment, tell your friends. All the interactions on the various sites helps with distribution of these messages. So I don't understand how the algorithms work, but I do know that all those interactions help. Yep. So please, do your part to keep us on the air.
Yeah.
Like next year, that's going to be finished with a request for money. And then, we'll be back sometime when we finally get this right. And in the meantime, try to stay free.
Life's short, live free.
Ciao.
Later.